Does any one of you know how many countries have sitting female heads of state? I don't think you have enough fingers. Rick, I see you counting. 27. Yeah, I'd said more too. How many presidents have we had in the US? President is 45, right? Okay, I thought people will know that one. No, and I'm not going to talk about why we should have a female president. Put that to rest. Now let's ask more about presidents. How many presidents really have authority in the world? Really? It's hard to say. It's not just because you are president that you have authority. That's how it is with all offices in the world. The office of the president, or the office of the bishop, even the office of a pastor. Power does not lie in the office, but in how the office exercises it. Are we together? Power does not lie in the office, but how the office exercises it. That is what makes the office powerful. We won't go into how many of our presidents in the US have been powerful. That is probably debatable. The emperor at the time that Jesus was born, Emperor Augustus, decreed a census. See, the thing about people with power is that they can just decree. Lutheran bishops always say we don't really have power because we're not like the Catholic bishops who can simply decree, or the Pope who can simply decree. Because their polity allows them that. But the emperor decreed that there should be a census. It's interesting that they say that all the world should be counted. Almost sounds like us saying that we had the World Series, okay, which we don't really have. But he was declaring that we should have a census. If you read further, it says it's the first time, it seems it was the first time that they decided to have the census. Why do we have census? Why did this governor have census? I mean, the governor too, Quirinius, that was the first time he was going through that. There's various reasons, and I don't want to go through everything, but I just want to list a few. One is that, for the sake of the emperor, they will know how much taxes they can expect to have, right? I think most of you are saying the same thing about why you have to be counted. Because we have this love-hate relationship with our taxes. Yeah? Sometimes they do a census because they want to know where people are so you can control them. Sometimes you do a census because you just want to be able to rule wisely. So you want to know which areas of your kingdom, of your lands, the area that you have rule over, has more people, more money. In this case, which governor is more powerful? Because the more people and the more money they have, the more powerful they are, right? In the world, power comes from having money and people that you can claim have allegiance to you. So, Emperor Augustus was doing the census, and it was going to give him more power, more authority, right? Because he would know who's who, he would know who to be more friendly with, which governor, so that he will have more influence over his land, his part of the world. It's interesting that the narrative goes through all that detail, and it seems it's just simply to say that because of the census, Mary and Joseph went to Bethlehem, the city of David. And that's true. But at the same time, if you look at who this Jesus is, it is significant that the narrative explained about this powerful emperor, this Emperor Augustus. Because coming up, after Joseph and Mary moved to Bethlehem, was going to be a power that is going to be the King of all kings. A power greater than all powers in the world. A Messiah. I really like that part of the narrative where these ordinary shepherds were keeping watch over their flocks by night and watching over their flocks, and an angel appeared to them. And of course, it was night. They might have been scared. The angel says, "Don't be afraid, because I bring you good news of great joy to all people." Not only those that are part of your census, but good news of great joy to all people. Documented or undocumented? Yes, you knew I was going to go there. I did that for Richard's benefit. He was coming to us as the Messiah of the world. He was coming to us as the Messiah of the world. The angel was telling the shepherds that even before the rest of the world knew it. Of course, Mary and Joseph knew it. And it was this time of the census, people are moving around. So it's very significant that at that point, the angel appears to say, there's a king who is great, and through him, you will know who's part of his kingdom. But let me tell you this, that it's going to be joy to the whole world, not just to those that claim some ownership of the Messiah. It was the Jews that were expecting their Messiah. And the angel was coming to say, there'll be a Messiah for the Jews, but I am declaring to you that this Messiah is bringing good news of great joy to all people. God doesn't have to do a census. God knows who we are, where we are, and how we are. And in that context, the Messiah came. Jesus is declared by the heavenly host to be the Prince of Peace. The Prince of Peace, to bring peace to all of the earth. In the Isaiah reading, the word authority appears a few times. And the authority is that he will rule. This is the Messiah coming will rule, and he will bring peace to the world. Let's talk a little bit about the authority of Jesus. The authority of the human person that walked the earth, Jesus, when he was in human form, is unquestioning. Jesus was not afraid to declare his authority, whether it was over evil spirits, whether it was over those that were implementing the law, whether it was those who were struggling with the law, whether it was those that needed their needs met, even to those that were rulers, Jesus declared his authority. It's not uncanny that the king, Herod, felt threatened. because there was an authority greater than all that was coming into the world. And it's interesting that it was not just an authority to rule the way the empress ruled or Herod ruled, but it was an authority that was coming for the good of all people. Peace and goodwill towards all flesh. So what does all of that mean for us? What does that do for you and I on Monday morning? We know who we are when we believe in Jesus. We say we are disciples of Jesus. We say we are children of God. And we say that God is with us. And that's good. That is true. Jesus was declared to be coming as the Prince of Peace. The only time that he was acknowledged by the world was when Jesus began to show that he was Prince of Peace. When people began to see his work on the earth. When people were able to see his authority in the world. The church becomes influential in the world only when the church starts to act in a way that has authority. You and I have also been declared princes and princesses of peace. No matter how much we proclaim that we know the Savior, unless it is seen in our lives, unless we actually exercise this authority that God has given us, then we don't have it. Jesus, I know this is like the end of his life, in Matthew chapter 28 said, all authority is given to me. And we've seen that in the whole gospel by then. He said, all authority is given to me, even authority over death and sin. And he said, I give you this authority. I send you out in this authority to go out and be my witnesses. Preach the gospel. We have that authority. We can't just wear the label saying we are people who have authority because of Jesus Christ. That authority, our power, your power, and my power is only seen, like I said. Power does not lie in the office or the label. Power is seen in how we exercise that office. Your office, my office, is that we are children of God. Unless it's seen in how we exercise it in the world, then all we have is the title that's written on our door. I have a title on my door, to my door, that says pastor. The title of pastor doesn't give me authority. How I exercise that office gives me authority. I'm not going to go into all of that because some of you will try to steal my authority that I tell you. Talking about steal it. God gave you the authority for a reason. Because when God declared peace to the world, when God declared goodwill to the world, He gave you and I the authority to do that in the world when He left. How are you using that authority? Do you have that authority? You know, people sing about that authority. There's a song that says, I'm walking in power. There's songs that says, I'm more than a conqueror, when we quote the scripture. But how is it being exercised? This label is being exercised in our lives. When we are baptized, it is declared to us that we will have authority, power over sin, over the devil, and over the evil in the world. How is that working out for you? Is sin ruling our world? Is sin ruling your world? Are you finding that you are losing your authority over your life. There's very often reasons why we can blame the outside world, whether it's the world, whether it's sin, whether it's our weakness, whether it's our background, whether it is the way we grew up, and all the odds that are stacked against us. There's reason why we can claim our weakness. There's reason why we can claim our powerlessness. It's easy to do that. But God is telling you you are powerful, so we have no excuse we have no excuse to bring up these reasons for us not to be powerful. When sin and injustice appears in the world, rears their ugly heads, whether it's me in my own life, in my family, or in society, by the birth of Jesus Christ, by the coming of the Savior into the world, I have been given that authority to exercise in the world. So as we spend this time celebrating this child, celebrating the coming of the Messiah, let's think about how are we exercising this authority which God brought into the world. Amen.